Hello everybody, Nathan here. I was just going to put together a quick video. I was doing some thinking the other night while watching some YouTube videos on the people that do the radio restorations and stuff like that, be it vintage radios, TVs, electronics of any kind, anything regarding a vacuum tube more or less. How these people got a start in the hobby and the occupation and some sorts of stuff that they like to do like this. So it got me wondering, to title my video, what made you do this? In my younger years, when I was asked that question, it was mainly because I'd done something wrong. So nowadays, when I'm asked that question, what made you do this in regards to anything vintage here, it's something that I like, something that sparked my interest, because a lot of this stuff that's in this video right in here predates me by about 30 years. So maybe even a little more, maybe 40 years in some cases. And it's kind of an odd thing for a guy my age to collect things like this, but I was always raised, to respect things from the past, respect your elders, respect the things that were built well. If you treat them well, maintenance them, they will last a lifetime. So I thought, coming from that point of view, I'd share my story of how I got interested in the vintage radio repair hobby and collecting. For me, I took the last 2 years of my high school, my junior and senior year, and went to a JVS, or a joint vocational school here in Ohio, for one of three types of classes. I was either going to enroll in carpentry, electronics, or small engine repair and rebuilding. Well, as it turns out, the electronics and the small engine repair and rebuilding courses were full. I got kind of nixed out of them. So I wound up over in carpentry for 2 years, my junior and senior year, and graduated and went out into the real world and ended up building pole barns for 7 or 8 years for a local company. And I shouldn't say 7 or 8 years, 7 or 8 months, I'm sorry. 7 or 8 months. And built for them. Enjoyed the job. It was a lot of traveling. Sometimes I went as far as 45 minutes to an hour away from home here. That was when gas was still kind of cheap in spots. And it was just something I didn't much like, the traveling, and some of the people I worked with weren't the best sorts of people to be mingling with. And I kind of got out of that pretty quickly and shifted gears and started working for a company that built greenhouses. Traveled all around the United States building greenhouses. I mean, we went from West Coast to East Coast, North, Michigan, down to Texas, Florida. Went all over the United States building these greenhouses and stuff for different companies. And I enjoyed that. I was a laborer for the first 4 years. I was a foreman for the last 4 years. But I missed home. So I ended up getting a job, coming back home in 2005, and now I work for an aluminum foundry. I did mold. I made aluminum castings, which were a sand foundry up there. You still shovel the sand off the ground into your flask, make it on your machine. Everything's still done by hand like it was back in the 40s and 50s, which is kind of a rarity. A lot of that kind of stuff is overhead sand now, where you pull a lever, sand comes down your chute and into your flasks, and everything's done that way. I did mold up till this past September, and because of my carpal tunnel surgery and all that stuff, I decided to give that up. It wasn't something I wanted to go through again, so now I'm just a general laborer for the foundry. So, I really didn't have much of an electronics background there, but I always liked electronics as a kid. Something about them always sparked my interest. So, I'd had this one old radio, a 1948 RCA Victor 65U. It's a phonograph with a AM 5-tube radio underneath of it. And I always wanted to get that thing working, because when I bought it at an antique store up in Northern Ohio for $40, it didn't work. The turntable motor would turn, but the radio didn't work at all. So I got online, did some searching around, and while searching, I come across some people on the web that would play music through the YouTube site on different pieces of vintage equipment, be it a record player, a jukebox, or something like that. And I took that to like a fish to water, because that was right up my alley. I liked that. That was really neat to see these people showcase their equipment with music of that era and fix these things up and bring them back to life. In some cases, almost, if not better than what they were when they were new from the manufacturer back when they were the 30s, 40s, 50s, and whatnot. So I did some looking around on some of the sites, and got into the guys that were into jukebox repair first. You know, they really piqued my interest. That was neat. They tore these units down and refurbished them, got them working again, and from there I got over into some of the radio people on the internet. And some of my first few people that I got into watching, I never commented on, but I watched them, was like 45 Player, Banderson TV, old 64 Goat when he was still doing electronics repair, All American 5, you know, Retro Chad, Radio TV Phono Nut, and when he was still around I liked watching 75 Caprice Convertible. I don't think he's on YouTube no more. He always had good videos showcasing music and that nice jukebox he had. So I watched for about the first 6 months or so, and once we got that RCA Victor radio up and running, me and my local electronics dealer, electronics repairman down the road here a few miles, put a new tube in that radio for me, got it going down his shop, and it just lit me up. I was in, I was hooked. So the next year or two just took off like wildfire, and I've been collecting ever since and slowly learning the trades through different people on YouTube. A lot of good people there, a lot of knowledge, tons of knowledge there, and everybody's at different levels of restoration too. You know, some of the guys, they mainly collect the old wood-cased radios, the console radios and stuff like that. Me, I like a little bit of everything, from a tubed bass amplifier record player to a nice wood-cased Philco radio. These two are transistors from the 50s and 60s. You know, got a nice Admiral Bakelite that's in my my collection, and even all the way down to a 1958 Zenith Transoceanic that I just picked up here recently. So I mean, the diversity in our collections show people who we are. We're not all the same. Can you imagine how boring it would be to have everybody on YouTube collect and share the same thing over and over and over again? It'd be pretty boring in my eyes. But to me, this is how I got started. I wanted to share my story. Y'all are welcome to comment on this video. I'd openly welcome it. It'd be nice to know how you guys got your start in the vintage radio tube collection and restoration, just like myself and several others have. And for those out there that repair and do the best job that they can, and some of them even say you can always do better, I don't know how, guys, my hat's off to you. You are the ones that got me interested. Some of the big heavy hitters in my books, like Joe Irwin, Old Radio Owl, Richard McWhorter, All American 5, a lot of these guys, Radio TV Phono Nut, I've learned a lot watching his videos, Banderson TV. You guys are the ones that built this and really piqued my interest and got me into this, because you showed us that the average person can go out there with a little bit of knowledge and keep learning throughout the years, that we can do something like this, and we can enjoy our lives as a hobby and all that. So guys, I thank you. I thank everybody for viewing this video. I hope it was kind of entertaining. And I said there again, no matter how you got into this hobby, please feel free to leave a comment down at the bottom of the page. Again, what made you do this? So until next time, guys, this is Nathan. Thanks for watching.